headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
Rob Rinder has travelled to the country to talk to refugees to find out what is going on in Ukraine. Rob, good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia. First of all, thanks for taking the time to hear from us this morning. I have to tell you, if you'd have told me a week ago that less than 2 hours by flight from where you're sitting in your radio studio, I'd be standing where I am now at Przemysl station, where infrequently every few hours trains arrive and they're full of kids and women who are coming from war-torn Ukraine, many of them fleeing parts of the world with stories that we'll be telling you about in due course. The trains come from Lvov, they come from Odessa. There are kids in buggies, there are old women and children arriving here. There are international agencies and of course the Polish people who have taken 1.5 million refugees in. But we're standing here at what looks like, seems for every outward purpose, like a Western train station, and it is currently receiving a wave of refugees.
Well, and this is it. There's, of course, I mean, we've seen people very much, in Warsaw or just over the Ukrainian-Poland border. You're in southeastern Poland, in Przemysl. This is just one of many towns and cities that is receiving these wave of Ukrainian refugees. And in terms of the welcome, we've heard so much about how the Polish are being incredibly welcoming. People standing there with signs saying, I've got a spare room for a family or for one person. I can take children or whatever. How much of a welcome are people getting?
It's a really good question. It's time to talk the response of the West up, and that's exactly what you just did there, Julia. We've seen a number of organisations here. Religious organisations, there's the Red Cross working here. There's a number of groups that are here ready, willing and able to help. We found Polish interpreters working for free, young people across the board who are willing and are offering their services to help as many people as possible. Every person we've met is Polish, and when you ask them why they're doing this, it's a question they can't answer. The answer is, because these are my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, there's a very strong affinity, isn't there, between Ukrainians and Polish people, and a lot of shared sort of cultural and linguistic issues, so that it makes it easier. In terms of people wanting to go further afield, I mean, the reality is they've just packed a bag, picked up their children. And just got on a car and a train and just trying to move west to Lviv, as most people have got to, and then making their way to somewhere of safety. They've barely been able to carry many belongings and don't know when they're going to go back to their homes. When people arrive, I mean, what are they most looking for? Obviously, they need shelter, they need food, they need medicine. But what else are they looking for? And do they have any idea of how long until they are reunited with their menfolk left back in Ukraine, and how long until they're able to go home?
Well, the limited people we spoke to, the first thing is, of course, safety, exactly as you describe, and it's so hard to share until you're viscerally standing on the ground. People who arrive without their medicines, arrive with kids in buggies, without basic supplies. So the first thing, of course, is to get safety, is to get shelter. And people are, of course, insofar as they can be, in contact with the men who are not allowed to leave Ukraine, who are fighting for the security and safety of that country very proudly, as you know. As for where they go next, the answer is a place, a home, anywhere that's willing, ready and able to offer them sanctuaries. Julia, part of what we're going to be asking here are the number of people that are perhaps looking for a limited period of time. Every person you speak to feels proud about Ukraine, wants to go back when some semblance of safety and security returns. And it's about the extent to which people who are reaching towards perhaps getting to Britain might be able to do that. As you are aware, the government have made a number of very positive virtue signals, little happy drops in a dark ocean. It's all very well of the wave of the great British public saying, for a period of time, we're happy to extend our hospitality and our greatness and our sanctuary to you. We just want to be able to do that. You need to cut the red tape.
Yeah.
So far on our journey, every single story we've heard from our fixers here, from the people we speak to, say that the bureaucratic reality on the ground is a nightmare. So we've made the offer, but frankly, there's not the staff to deliver on it. And I'm afraid to say, as proud as I am to be British standing here, it is a matter of real national embarrassment.
Rob Rinder, really appreciate you joining us. He's outside Przemysl train station there in the southeastern Poland, where Ukrainian refugees are arriving by the thousands every single day. Listening and watching that, comedian Dave Chorner, who's been joining me all this morning, just the last couple of moments with you. There is talk about big national embarrassment. There is an awful lot of help that the UK is giving, which other countries aren't giving. The military help we've been giving for a long time. Those tanks that get blown up, they're being blown up with our missiles. If I were Ukrainian, I've got to be honest with you, I would rather have weaponry to protect my homeland than a home for when my homeland is destroyed to go to outside. I mean, but do we need to provide both?
Well, I was going to say I don't see why we have to choose. I think we should give both because it's creeping nearer our door as well, every minute, every hour.
And we were just saying just before we spoke to Rob Rinder that is the concern, isn't it? And that's what the Ukrainian President Zelensky has been saying. Look, it's a matter of time.
Yeah, when I say it's creeping close to our door, I don't think they're going to turn up at Kent anytime soon. But what I mean is when this becomes a NATO problem, this becomes a us problem.
And do you think NATO is going to be willing to act? If he does, step one steel toe cap into Poland, or more likely Lithuania, Estonia and Latvia, those countries have been fearful for many years. There's a reason why they've been paying their 2% subsidies into their in terms of their defence spending as a share of their NATO agreement.
Oh yeah, and I think this has been going on for years because there's a psychological warfare, isn't it, of all the planes flying into sort of English airspace or British airspace, and I think there's a lot of aggression behind closed doors that I think is going to come out.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk Radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.